This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by the Deaf Independent Living Association.
You know, every so often on Delmarva Life, we talk about the importance of emergency preparedness, particularly when the weather's bad or we're expecting severe or winter weather.
Yeah, it's probably pretty easy for you to get everything you need in order, but imagine the challenge that might be if you were blind or deaf. That's why we're so thankful for organizations that help this vital part of our community. Organizations like the Deaf Independent Living Association, or DILA. Mike Perky is the executive director of DILA, and he joins us this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. First of all, let's talk about those challenges, the ones that come up with the deaf and the blind, for that matter, when we have an emergency situation.
Well, within our agency, we have, of course, an emergency preparedness plan. And so the houses that we maintain are all stocked and ready. We have to keep 3 days supply of food and water, batteries, flashlights, all that stuff. So with the population that we serve and with the deaf-blind population also, a big part of the preparedness is making sure that the emergency responders understand what they're coming into, how they're going to communicate with these folks in this emergency. And so we're doing this conference on emergency preparedness, but preparedness all the way through life, because as we age, we're trying to get prepared for later in years.
Sure. Right.
And struggling through all the resources that we may or may not know about as we age in place. Right. So we're kind of attacking this from two different directions, if you will, the emergency piece of it and the being prepared in life as we all get older.
So in the emergency part of it,
yeah,
how does DILA actually step in to help?
We step in with staff
in
our homes, and then we avail ourselves to the community, to anyone within that population of deaf or deaf-blind. The scary part is maybe not having access to information, if you will. Most stations are captioned, some are not, but a lot of it is done over air, over radio, which is not accessible to us. So we relay that information, if you will. We send out things over our media. We send out blasts to folks within the community so they can let their people know that they're working with, because we don't work with everybody, you know. But it's more of a community effort to be prepared for when something like this happens. As we know on the shore, it's we're in that area.
Yeah. Sure, sure. Now, you touched on it a little bit. Something else that DILA does is it promotes independent living for the people you serve, and that includes aging in place.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
That is the teaching part of it, if you will. And it's, again, learning how to access the resources that are available, going about actually accessing them and learning about them. What does it mean to become older? And I'm probably the expert at it at the agency because I am older. It's, what does this mean? It's scary sometimes when, you know, not the deaf piece, but the developmental disability piece. It's more of a what's happening. I always could do this. We've got a gentleman we serve who just celebrated his 75th birthday. And I asked him how he was doing, and I've known him 30 years. And the first thing he said was, "I'm good, I'm strong." You know, he's not dealing with, I'm getting old. In his mind, I can do everything that I always could. So the teaching with him is, these are the things that can happen. These are some of the illnesses that you can get. This is how you may feel. So trying to teach that as we go along to prepare people for what's going to come on. And here's who you may need to be calling now.
So what are the challenges that you see when it comes to the deaf and the blind with these situations?
The situations is, I think one of the biggest ones is the lack of information. What do I do? Type things. If they're, like I said, if they're with our agency, it's not a problem because we're doing it. If they're in the general community, you know, you'll see it, the firefighter stickers for, you know, this is I guess an at-risk person. They need to be rescued first on the window. You know, but if, you know, firefighters, EMTs show up and there's no communication, what do you do? How do, you know, so, you know, we'll talk to them about creating cards or doing some kind of a media that says, here's what I need. and working with them on advocating for themselves on how to do this. That's the biggest thing. For us to do it is great. For them to be able to do it themselves is better.
So you have a conference that you mentioned
Right.
coming up that's going to address these issues. Tell us about it.
It's in conjunction with the Helen Keller National Center out of New York. It's our second annual one. We hope this will go on. It's focused on the deaf-blind, but the information is really kind of crossover for anybody. And we're attacking the emergency preparedness piece, but then preparedness through life at the same time. So there'll be a cadre of speakers that are coming, fully accessible. We have tons of interpreters that will be there. If you've never seen tactile interpreting, it's something I don't do, but it's fascinating, and there are many different ways of doing it. When I walked around last year, it was just like, wow. Tactile interpreting. Because if someone's blind, they can't see you sign. So they sign into the hand, they sign on the back.
Okay.
It's amazing. And just as fast.
Wow.
And just as fast.
And just as fast, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's incredible. So we're going to be having, speakers from the state will be there. We're going to be having speakers from Maryland Relay will be there for the emergency pieces of that. There'll be a lot of opportunities to learn what do I do next. And we're still building that panel right this minute. There'll be a lot of roundtable. There'll be a lot of opportunities for parents who have deaf-blind children.
Let's go over the event details, because it sounds like there is going to be a lot involved.
There will be a lot involved. It's going to be September 27th and 28th. We're having it this year at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center because we outgrew our space. We're looking at it probably at least double of what's going to be there. We've doing some sponsorships now. We're hoping to get some more to help pay for this. The attendees really don't cover the cost. There's a few. And then we have vendors who will be there. So if anybody's interested in having an exhibition space, we'll be sending out that information. Yeah.
And there's no connection between DELA and the Civic Center. This just happens to be where you're having the...
Just where they were nice enough to have the spaces that we needed.
There you go.
So that was great. And be able to provide the catering, which was a big help to us. So.
Mike Perky, Executive Director with DELA.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate it.
About that today.